mean, look, as I was saying to some friends, literally a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, there's no better place in the world to be right now than Miami Beach. The beaches are open. People are having fun. They're out in the sunshine. They're getting vitamin D. They're breathing fresh air. The restaurants are not only open, they're probably exceeding their previous capacity because during COVID, the restaurants were allowed to spill out into the streets, right? And they closed some of the streets down in terms of traffic. So they kept that, and they opened the insides of the restaurant. So now the restaurant, so
they're even bigger.
Yeah, and a lot of people who live in the building that I live, and a lot of people who live in my neighborhood, who would typically be occasional residents. This is probably a second home for a lot of these people. Many from New York, from Chicago, from South America, sort of decided during COVID they'd hunker down in California. I mean, in Miami, and now they're staying there. So we've got a nice group of people that are hanging out and having a good time.
And you've been down there for how many years now?
3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah.
The fascinating thing about Miami or Florida in general, their approach to the lockdowns, it shows you that the idea that you're going to force people to stay home, it doesn't work. It's ineffective. They even though they're wide open, they have less cases, they have less deaths, they have less hospitalizations per capita than California does, which is just, I think that's correct.
It is correct, and it's predictable.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's nuts. That's because everybody in California is like they got Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
They're still thinking that the lockdowns are a good idea and that we have to protect ourselves from this thing. You got COVID.
Yes.
What was it like?
For me, it was a lot of nothing.
And how old are you?
67.
67.
Yeah, I'll be
you
68.
Look fucking great.
Thank
I hope
you, man.
I look half as good
Thanks.
as you when I'm 67.
I don't want to piss anybody off, but I've looked at this from the beginning as a bad case of flu. It's a virus. There are millions of viruses that we encounter on a daily basis. It's an issue of personal immunity. I mean, if you have a strong immune system, I think you're going to do well during this, and that's been the biggest issue. Like if instead of lockdowns, if the government had said, stop eating sugar, spend some time out in the sun, move around a lot, and maybe even, and I think one of the issues was this whole thing about viral load. I don't know how much you know about that, but people who got really sick had massive viral loads, partly because of being locked inside with other people for long periods of time.
Exactly.
If you got exposed outside to a minimal viral load, there's a good chance that your body dealt with it already and managed it and got rid of it and set up whatever.
And accumulated antibodies.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you're in this area in terms of age where people think there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Well, I love when I see a guy like you that's so fit, that you're in your later 60s, but you're incredibly fit. So it flies in the face of all these people that think they're like, well, what about older folks?
Yeah.
Well,
I've been training my whole life for this. This is what I say about COVID. I've been training my whole life for this. And, I'm kind of glad I got it because I was talking shit about it for a long time. Like, don't, it's not whatever. And again, not to, belittle the horrible experiences that some people have had. But, this really gets old people for what I would say are obvious reasons, whether it's immune system, whether it's lack of vitamin D, whether it's being shut up, whether it's a lowered cholesterol. I mean, we haven't, you don't even talk about what happens with all of the statin drugs that people are taking to lower their cholesterol. Well, high cholesterol is actually protective for something like this. So you could predict that a lot of older people were going to die if they weren't well protected.
Can we talk about that for a second? So statin drugs